Okay, guys, let's look at some stock charts. Let's analyze what happened. Had a good day to the downside today. Very profitable, and for anybody that was short, obviously. And I want to just get into these charts, show you guys what's happening. But before I do, leave me a thumbs up if you're finding some value here. If you're able to follow along, if I'm able to give you some trade ideas or just some additional insight on how to read the charts, then give me a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. Let's get into these stock charts. Triple Q's here. So what happened? Well, we closed right on support, and just slightly below it. I was watching the tech sector all day today, and it was a real battle, basically. You can see Q's closed right at support. Here's your trend line right there. So maybe we bounce on Monday. Maybe it gaps down. They kind of are leaving us guessing, basically, and that the market loves to do that. It loves to leave everyone kind of in suspense right at a level where nobody knows exactly what it's going to do, and then it usually makes a big move in one direction or the next, trapping in people. So if we get a gap down on Monday, then that would trap in the bulls, and that's what I think is coming, but we'll have to see. Let's look at the the XLK. This will just highlight the battle that was taking place all day today. Here's your XLF, and your support was at 101.80, or no, it's about 101.79, I guess. But you can see all day today they just kept battling it. It was just, kept popping below and recovering and dipping below and recovering, ultimately to end the day with a red candle below that support. So it broke. And you can say it did break, just not very impulsively. It happened at the very end of the day, so we don't want to read too much into that. The very end of the day breakdown on a Friday, you don't want to read too much into that. So Monday we could open up, could gap higher, or could gap down. They're basically leaving us in suspense. We don't quite know. But the point is that it was basically struggling all day right at that support level, and at the end of the day failed to hold the support. So basically, we'll just have to take it for what that is. But let's look at the NASDAQ futures, and this will come into play Sunday night. Perfect head and shoulders pattern, and we basically closed right at the support or the neckline. Here it is right here, 9872.75. And so if we break that, Sunday night they open up and start selling it and break the neckline, then we'll get the big gap down, and that will give you the resolution of this head and shoulders pattern, and we'll head lower. So we're going to watch for what happens Sunday night. But let's look at the SPY here. SPY here, pretty much fell to support. I marked this one out as we were starting to trade down there, 320 or so, but you can see there's the gap right here. Tag right here. I didn't have it marked out earlier because I don't think it's going to hold. I don't think it's a major support. I think ultimately we break and head down to this 290. It's about 295.50, 295, somewhere right in there. I think we head down there. Probably gap down there on Monday, and maybe that's where we hold some support. We also have this big gap right down here, and that's ultimately where I think this thing heads. So I'm not too concerned about holding the supports here. We just probably will fall down and get some reactions as we work our way down to the gap. And around gap fill right here at 286.50, then we'll have to really start to evaluate. You would expect the buyers to step in there in a more major way, and expect a reaction around that level. So we'll watch that, and if we don't get the reaction, or if we just dive right through it, then it tells me that the bigger picture is more of a bear market. We're definitely in a bear market and we're heading lower. You still can't say we're in a bear market yet. I mean, this could be a new bull market. I think it's a bear market rally. We're starting to roll over, but that doesn't mean we've created a new downtrend yet. We have to wait for that. So here's your low, and we now have a lower high, which is right up here, and we're really close to breaking a new lower low. So if we let's say we gap fill down here at 286, I'd expect a bounce, but that will set a brand new downtrend. We would then have, if I mark it out, you'll see we'll have, a downtrend, something like this, and depending on where the low falls, maybe something like this, and we'll start to make this downtrend channel. So we'll bounce up and down between the channel, but it's a new change in trend. So I'm watching for that next week. XLV didn't break today. Came down to support, did not break. So we just wait for this to break. If this breaks and the tech breaks, then the market's going to break. XLF, this one was really weak today, and it did break support. So we've now got XLF breaking support. You can see here's your support line right there. Broke it and didn't look back. So, it broke right through it, sold off, pretty impulsive, and moved straight down. So this is now a broken chart. We now have, you would now treat this as resistance, the support line. So kickbacks to it would offer objective short opportunities, and this should continue to sell off. So just shows you yesterday, financials were strong yesterday on some headline of the Fed or whatever, but it was a fake out. Today the Fed came out, or in the morning or last night, smashed them with some bad news, and they sold off and ended the day lower than what they even started out yesterday. So anybody that took that to the upside thinking the market was going to, if you took it yesterday at support, which is objective, you buy it at support, you rode it all the way up, you were met today with a big gap down, and then it sold off pretty quickly. So you could get out with a small profit, but they didn't let you have all that profit if you were holding it for a swing trade, maybe to the upside of the channel. So that's just weak trading action to show that you're at support, and rather than moving higher or even consolidating around support, you just instantly break and fail and just create that trap right there. So something to watch for in the future. And to look at the daily chart for XLF, just to highlight this indice breaking down this sector. And we did have some volume too. So here's the breakdown right there. And, elevated volume, I would say. A lot more above kind of the average volume, which is down around this area. We had, almost twice the amount of volume. So volume looks good for confirmation on that breakdown. Now we'll just watch for how this reacts. Does it come down and tag support and then run up and hit resistance? And if it fails at resistance, it's just going to continue to show you that this is going to work its way lower. All right, Walmart. I know this one's probably not interesting to everybody, but I'm in the trade, so I just want to continue to cover it for anybody that's, following along. And it's really more about not so much if you're in the trade or not in the trade. It's about how you read the charts, or how I read the charts, I guess, and just learning from that. So I want to keep reiterating it till this trade either works out or it doesn't, so you can see kind of the process of what this whole swing trading thing's about. So Walmart, basically another weak day, just continues to show weakness. Now the weakness today, we broke support 2 days ago, so I figured it was going to be weak and continue to work its way down. But this thing was, the signs that you want to pick up is when it hasn't broken support. When it was back up here, the rest of the market was moving higher, showing strength, and Walmart was showing weakness. It was relative weakness, and I kept pointing that out in videos, that saying, look, this thing's moving lower or going nowhere, and the rest of the market's moving up, and yet this stock can't go anywhere, and that's relative weakness. So you take that into incorporate that into your analysis, and then also the fact that we have this big bullish rising wedge pattern right here on the daily chart. So it's a big long-term pattern going back to 2015. We broke it to the upside right there, and that failed and was a false breakout. And when you have a false breakout, you trap bulls, you fake people out, and you create sellers in waiting, I guess. You create bulls that don't want to get out because they're going to take a loss, and they don't want to take a loss, so they stay in it. And then as the selling continues, those bulls start to capitulate, they start to sell, and that fuels more selling. And usually that ends, kind of is the end of the move. But the point is that the false breakout, and then you had a relative weakness. This thing just continued to show you that it was bearish. And again, it shows it to us again today. We had a down day. The market was down. So it's continuing to work. So that's just the general analysis on this one. All right, we'll just keep running through the list. And these are just a lot of the bellwether stocks I look at to give me reads. So here is Apple. Apple didn't break support today. So again, weak day, but still within support. I figure Apple's probably not going to break support intraday. I think it's going to come in the form of a gap down. Possibly earnings. We might chop around for another week and a half just in this area, and then we'll break. But I think if there's going to be a move down, it's going to come in the form of a trap, a bear trap. It's too easy to give the bulls who have been riding this thing up, making money to the long side, an opportunity to just get out, instantly when they see the market starting to break support and they can just get out. That's usually not how it works. Usually the way they do it is they'll trap the bulls, and then the bulls have to give back a big chunk of profit or take a loss if they've got in, too late. It's really about trapping. The early people on trends make money. The late people, the ones that chase, typically lose money. So when you trap the late chasers is the goal there. Microsoft pretty much closed at support. You can see this trend line that I put right there, and it just closed right there. Pretty good markup, I feel like, on this trend line too, because it's really sloppy. It undercut it a bunch, but I was able to connect a couple reactions, and we closed right there. So Microsoft's still on support, but this trend line is starting to get a little messy, so we'll have to continue to watch this. DraftKings. All right, so that's the kind of close you want to see, a nice weak close if you're trying to short. In the video yesterday, I said that I got out of this thing. Well, in this morning's video, I told everyone that I got back into it short because of this price action right here. Yesterday I got out because it broke support, but then instantly recovered and started to move higher. So I got out. But today, nice impulsive red candle. I got short again and rode this thing all the way to the bottom. I still hold it into the close. So I think it could easily bounce back up, tag resistance again, up around 30, 35, 36, or could just gap down and work its way lower. My profit target on this one now is sitting right around $29, $30. We'll have to evaluate when it gets down there, but somewhere in there. And my entry is right up here, right when it tagged this trend line up here. I entered right about there, so I'm profitable about 18% on this as of right now in about a 2-week time span. And I'm looking for, probably a total of about 28% gain on this trade. So continuing to work. And again, we knew this was bearish when it broke the trend line. Here's the trend line. This is how it works out. You have a trend line. When you break the trend line, they're either going to do two things. They're going to back test and fake everybody out and try to get people that took the breakdown off the trade, or they're just going to completely collapse. Usually, if you get a nice big impulsive gap down, then you might just get that collapse. But if you just barely break it, you might get that back test. It's hard to know which way it's going to go, and that's why you have to just be willing to take some losses. So when you take a breakdown, if you enter the trade right here, you would have been underwater slightly as it went against you. Let's say you got in right at the breakdown, you would have been underwater at one point if you took the whole trade at 14.5%. But as of now, you'd be profitable. So for me, I saw the trend line. I noticed that it was doing a kickback rally when we were right here. I exited my short trade that I entered on the breakdown for a small profit, and then I re-entered the short trade right up here at the top, and rode it underwater just a little bit, and then rode it down for a profit. So that's kind of how you want to look at things. Redfin's kind of doing the same thing. Redfin's a little stronger. I've noticed Redfin was stronger when DraftKings was selling off. Redfin was moving higher. So Redfin is a little stronger, but it's the same pattern as DraftKings. Uptrend, you had the break, you're doing the back test, and you're starting to roll over. You can see they started it here, started it again here. So maybe we get a gap down now, start to work our way lower. We'll just have to keep watching this one. This one's interesting. Facebook, it broke its support line today. And so that's one of the FANGs that just broke support. So now we look at, and this is what tells me the other FANGs are going to break too. But you know, Facebook just broke. So here's your support. And you can see you've got support right here at 223.20. And we held that right in here. Support, you know, support, support, support. And then today broke, and you know, it even had the back test too. If I zoom way in, you can see it. Here's your breakdown, broke support, came down to here, and here's your back test. Look, see the wick came right up to support, barely recovered it, and then the next candle started to recover it some more, but that candle didn't close. And if you look, none of these candles closed above support. So again, the close is very important. You have to have patience. And I know a lot of people, what they end up doing is looking at the 1 minute or the 5 minute chart, and they get impatient and over trade because they see things going against them or whatever. But again, that's just part of trading. You have to be willing to accept a little bit of flex when it comes to losses. And you got to wait for the close. So here, you didn't go against you. The next candle, it did start to go against you, but then it sold off and closed back below resistance, which, you know, it is resistance now. And then it sold off. So very bearish action in Facebook. You know, we had the back test and the rejection, sold off. So we go lower now in Facebook, most likely, of course. Everything's a probability. Nothing's for sure. But we head lower is what I believe. We'll probably head to this 203.40. Can mark this out. I'm not trading this one, but I watch it. You know, it's a FANG. So when the FANGs break, the market breaks. Let's look at some gold stocks to wrap it up. Kirkland Lake. So this one I've been watching because it is, you know, this thing just has a really nice pattern. But look, you got the flag here, and we broke the flag. I was a little too slow to take a position on this, but I am definitely interested if I can get a good entry. We broke the flag to the upside, but it wasn't very impulsive, and we've done the back test, and it's held so far. It's just holding support on this back test of this downward, you know, channel, flag, you know, pattern. So this is good. This is what you want to see. And so if it continues to hold, we should move higher. And that tells me that some of these other gold miners are probably going to move higher as well. Here's your AEM. I pointed this one out. What I'm looking for on this one, if I can get it, is a nice big sell-off and a complete back test of this trend line. We haven't got it yet. You know, it gapped higher, and it's just been kind of consolidating higher. It hasn't had the big move down yet and tag support. Maybe that comes with a big sell-off in the market. You know, sometimes they like to dump on these gold miners because they are stocks when the market sells off. Even though gold is a safe haven commodity, they'll smash the gold miners. And if they do that, maybe that comes with a big market sell-off. And I'll be looking to buy this right around this support line. So that's that one. Barrick Gold, this one I'm looking to buy at the support line right down here, around 25 bucks. Depends on when or if we get there, but I'm looking to buy it when it tags support. Until then, you know, I'm not really interested, but you know, this can start to move. You know, we can I do expect this to move up to this 28.20 and ultimately break higher. But I'm just looking for tags of support to add positions to. Let's look at GDX, and I'll wrap up here. GDX is, you know, the mining ETF, so good general sense of the miners. And you can see, you know, I don't look at this one too often, but ultimately, look, we've got this flagpole. Let me try to just kind of highlight it. You got this flagpole like this, and then you have a flag, which is, you know, trying to find the perfect level, maybe something like that. And we don't have a lot of reactions, so it's not the cleanest flag. And then you have a breakout. So very similar to the others. I'd have to tighten this up to find, you know, it's probably something like there. And then you broke out and you're starting to hold above here. So looks good. Well, again, here's another possibility, though, across the board for all these miners. Watch out for the island top. If we get a gap down and create, you know, it would have to be a big gap down. From here, it probably wouldn't happen, but maybe we sell off a little bit more and then gap down. From here, it would be, you know, well, 5% down. But if we get a big gap down and create another gap, then you put in the island cluster top. and that would be a reversal pattern. That would probably set us up for a bigger move down, ultimately probably down to this 25.80 level. And you can see that's major support. So that's a possibility. There's lots of things that can happen. We'll just have to continue to watch it. But until you get the island top, this is this looks bullish. We broke up. We've kind of done some back testing, starting to move higher. Looks like it wants to break higher and make another leg higher. So we just watch it, and we'll take it from there. So that's all I got, guys. Leave me a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. And not sure if I'll put out a video this weekend, but thanks for the subscribership. Really appreciate it. Talk to you later.